Hi, everyone. My name is Danae Barkey, and I'm the Executive Director of HCU Network America. We are joined today by Chef Amber Gibson. Amber is going to be cooking some fall low-protein recipes for us. We're going to start backwards, actually. So we're going to start with the pumpkin apple crisp, and then we have the rice cauliflower cups, and then the pate. So, Amber, I'm going to hide myself and I'll let you take it away.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to all of my favorite people. Mainly, these are going to be options that are low protein, but can be loved by everyone. So feel free to take these and allow everybody to enjoy them because it makes quite a bit. You can always reduce your recipes by half if you want, but believe me, these are going to be so good. You'll just want to share them with everyone. So yeah, we're going to start with the pumpkin apple crisp. I have my apples chopped right there. And then I have the brown sugar, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, salt, and cornstarch all mixed in here, ready to go. So we're going to add that. Oh, you also want to turn the oven on to 350. And you want to have like a square 9x9, 8x8 pan. And spray it with cooking spray. Have that ready to go. Now we're going to add all the spices and the sugar to our apple mixture, apples, and we're going to mix it up so they're all nicely coated. Get them all. Oh my gosh, smells so good. It smells like fall. Even though for some of us we have snow, but it's still fall. So we're going to enjoy these nice fall flavors.
I know when we were naming this, we were like, do we go with winter or do we go with fall? Because let's be honest, it might as well be winter by the time Thanksgiving and all the other holidays roll in here that these are for. So.
Yeah. But these are still nice warm flavors, so they're going to be delicious. I'm going to add my vanilla, and then we're going to add our pumpkin. And I came up with this because I wanted to do something that kind of combined two of a lot of people's fall favorites. I love pumpkin, I love apples. So I wanted to combine all this together. So there we go, all nicely coated. And it smells so good. There's our pumpkin. We're going to throw that in there and mix it in. Oops. Run away, apple. There we go. All nicely coated with the pumpkin. And all the flavors blend well together for both the apple and the pumpkin, so they go really well together. Put that in my pan. You can even see the sugar starting to kind of syrup up a little bit with the apples and the extra vanilla that we put in there. And them out nice and evenly.
And if anyone has questions, you can put them into the Q&A and I can read those off.
Yes, feel free to ask any questions. All right, now I have my crumb mix already here. It's 1 cup of the Cook for Love baking mix. You can find it on the Cook for Love site. She tells you how to put it together. If you don't have that, you can also use Cambrooke's baking mix in its place. Or if you have a favorite crumb topping recipe that you like to use, you can use that as well and put that on top. The one I really like is Brenda's crumb topping for her coffee cake. That's really good. So we got that all together. Now we're going to add the melted butter and stir that so it's nice and moist before we put it on top of our apples. And that's going to help create the crisp on top. And you want it just combined enough to kind of crumble. So you don't want too much butter because then it'll just end up a greasy mess. There we go. Starting to see how it's coming together real nice. You can even get in there with your fingers if you like. Kind of crumble it up. And we're just going to spread this all over the top of the apples. And it's going to go in the oven and bake for about 35-45 minutes. So the apples are nice and baked. And the crumb topping is browned and gotten crispy. Topping recipe that you like to use, you can use that as well. There we go. Nice and ready to go. Going into the oven. All right. That's the apple crisp. Very simple to put together. Again, it can be made a day in advance and heat it up in the oven if you want when you get there for your family Thanksgiving. And right, we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to our cauliflower cups. These are basically like little stuffing cups. So we used our rice cauliflower, which is right here. You just need about a 12-ounce bag. You can use rice cauliflower or any other rice vegetable that you want. And we're going to go ahead and saute some onions and celery and some garlic. Maneuver a few things here. There we go. There we go. Nice and in the picture. Go ahead and turn on medium. And it is going to get a little bit loud, so I'll try to talk over this. Unfortunately, it is loud. So bear with me. I got my onions and my celery already chopped, ready to go. I'm just going to go in our stuffing cups. So we want these to saute so the celery is soft and the onions are translucent. And then we're going to add our garlic. The garlic I like to use sometimes. I keep a small bottle of the garlic in a bottle on hand because I can just squeeze out what I want, whatever I want. Saves me some time from having to chop them up when I have a lot of garlic to use. Grab my scissors. All right, cauliflower. Checking on my olive oil. Want that to heat up. And again, these cauliflower cups are going to go into mini muffin tins. So you're going to preheat the oven to 350 as well. And we're going to use a mini muffin tin like this to make these cups. Not quite hot yet. And as Danae says, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I am having some technical difficulties with my computer, so if I don't respond, I'm not ignoring you. Looks like the driver crashed, but I can hear you, so I know we're still going. So
Okay, good. Glad you can still be with us. All right, here we go. Here we go. Yep, see with the celery and the onions, you're already getting kind of like that Thanksgiving cooking in the kitchen smell. You know, when you first arrive to the relative's house, you can smell the food cooking. That's about what this is smelling like right now. This will saute for a few minutes here. Again, we want the celery to soften. All right, we've got our onions are starting to get a little translucent there, if you can see that. The celery is softening. So now we're going to add in the garlic. I always try to do my garlic as one of the last things I have to saute because it can burn pretty quickly. So we want to saute it last and then throw in the rest of the stuff afterwards once it's sauteed a little bit. Then we're going to do another 2 cloves of garlic. And then once we got that nice and sauteed, we're going to add in the rice veggies or rice cauliflower, whatever you're choosing to use. All right. we go. You can always add more olive oil if necessary. They start to stick a little bit. There will be plenty of moisture in the cauliflower for a while, so you may not need the extra olive oil just yet. Try to blend that all together. There we go.
Amber, I don't know if you mentioned this, and I don't think you did. Does it matter if it's frozen or if it's thawed, or what is the preferred, or if you're using fresh, does that make a difference?
It will not make a difference. The fresh might take just a little bit longer to cook because it is fresh. The frozen will already kind of be broken down a little bit from the freezing and thawing. So it may take a little less time, but overall it doesn't matter. You can use fresh or you can use frozen. Frozen is just easy because it's already done. I don't have to get it and, you know, chop it up myself.
Yes.
Although some stores have it freshly priced if you wish. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add the vegetable broth. Right there we go. Let that start to blend in and get it nice and absorbed. The vegetable broth just gives that a little extra flavor. I'm trying to see if we get most of that absorbed here. Just about a minute. The next thing we're going to add is, you can either use chicken bouillon or Cambrooks consomme mix to kind of give it that chicken flavor, like you're, you know, cooking it with the chicken or turkey or whichever flavor you're aiming for. You do not have to use that if you don't want. You can omit it completely. But I like to try to incorporate flavors as close to other flavors we're having at Thanksgiving as possible. Okay. There we go, heating back up. This flavor should be absorbed here shortly. Along with the consomme or chicken bouillon, I'm also going to use Cambrooks chicken patty mix to kind of help bind it together so that when we bake it, it holds its shape together and binds well. If you don't have Cambrooks baking mix or any of the patty mixes, you can use wheat starch. It'll absorb just the same.
Should you adjust any of the additional flavor, the other flavorings like the chicken bouillon to add more of that like chickeny flavor back, or will it be fine just with the ratio of the wheat starch?
It should still be fine.
Okay.
Again, because I mean, if you allot it in your diet instead of using vegetable broth, you can use chicken broth. So if you have that on hand, you can use that, and that'll also add the chicken flavor as well.
Okay.
So that would work just as well. So we're gonna go ahead and add the chicken patty mix and the chicken bouillon right there. And you'll see it start kind of pulling itself together, holding on to that moisture, thickening, starting to pull the stuff almost like a stuffing together.
Oh no.
There we go. See how it's getting nice and thick? Kind of starting to keep shape. See that? That's what we want. We want to be able to almost stick together. Okay, now I'm going to use, these are grain-free breadcrumbs that I found at the store, and they're already seasoned. So I'm not going to add the additional Italian seasoning, but if you're just using plain, I would add about a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half of Italian seasoning to the mix. And again, this is also going to help pull it together and give it that bread-like texture, similar to stuffing. Oh, that's looking great. It's coming together nicely. Almost looks like stuffing. Smells really good. But you want to blend that together so that all the breadcrumbs are kind of moistened and pulled together. I mean, you might be able to get away with even doing like a small turkey mold. You want to give it like a turkey shape. I mean, it should hold together nicely to do something like that.
That would be very cute, especially for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, turn them into almost like little nuggets, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. And again, my breadcrumbs are already seasoned, so I'm not going to add hardly any salt and pepper, but feel free to add your own seasoning of salt and pepper the way you like it. Beautiful. That is perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to use my cookie scoop to scoop it and put it into our pan, and that's going to go in the oven at 350 for 20 minutes. So just bear with me a few minutes. It's going to take just a second here. You see how that's holding its shape nicely. Easy to scoop. And these can be frozen for later and reheated. So if your kids really enjoy them, freeze them, and then you can always add them in as a side option later on.
Oh, there was a question from Facebook. Did you spray the pan with Pam or?
Yes, I did. If I didn't mention that earlier, I apologize. Yes, definitely spray the pan so that they will come out easily. Okay, here we go. This makes about 2 dozen mini muffin tins. So if you're trying this for the first time and you're not sure, you can by all means cut it in half and only make 12. And just start with that. All right, I got about 22 out. So it's pretty close to 2 dozen. So I'm gonna kind of press those down a little bit so that they kind of pull together. You can always moisten your fingers a little bit to prevent it from sticking, which I did not do, but it's all right. Or if you have like a muddle, like a wooden muddle, you can use that to push these down too. There we go. Move this out of the way here. But there they are. They're going into the oven again for 20 minutes. And then we're going to work on our pate in just a second.
So that and the pumpkin apple crisp cook at the same temperature, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, they get the same temperature.
oh, that's nice when things actually get to be at the same temperature. Takes a lot of heat
And
to time ratio.
Yeah. And right now they're both in the oven and they're roughly around 20 minutes left of time. So they'll come out roughly about the same time. Okay, excuse me. I'm going to reuse my pan for the pate. Okay, clean that up. There we go. Okay, now we're going to head into the pate, which is a mushroom pate. I tried to make it as similar to a spreadable pate that you would be able to see at a restaurant, like a liver pate. And it does have a strong mushroom flavor. If you're not a big fan of the mushroom flavor, you can cut the mushroom amount in half and maybe add jackfruit to it to give it that substance. Believe me, the flavor of it is really good. It's rich, has a little bit of wine in it. If you don't want wine, you can use vegetable broth. But I'm going to be honest here. I am not a mushroom person myself, but this wasn't too bad, even for me. So I'm going to add our olive oil and we're going to saute onions. Again, this is going to be a medium heat. Let the olive oil heat up. We're going to saute onions and then we're going to add garlic. And it's Again, we want them to just saute just enough with the onions to be translucent. And we're gonna add the garlic, saute for a minute, and then add the mushrooms. We're gonna saute those till they brown a little bit. And we're gonna add wine and things like that after that to help give them the flavor we want. Alrighty. It's already starting to simmer there. You can see that little bubbles. So there we go. I can hear. Oh, there we go. That is one of the reasons I like this. It doesn't take long to heat up what I need. So there we go. All right, this is going to saute for a couple of minutes. Again, you want it to be translucent and soft, but not brown. There we go. Starting to see them kind of get translucent there, right there. Give it another 30 seconds or so, and then we're going to add the garlic. And then we're going to add our mushrooms. If the garlic sticks a little bit to the pan, it's fine as long as it doesn't burn. So give that just a second here. We're gonna add the mushrooms, kind of prevent that from sticking too much. If you get a little bit stuck at the bottom, don't worry. Once we add the wine, it's gonna pull those flavors up. All right, 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos. 1, 2, there we go. All right, let's let those cook for a little bit so they get soft and browned. Again, we're going to cook these enough so they are pretty soft, because we are going to try and blend them almost to like a thick spread consistency. So they can go a little bit on the soft side. Okay, they're getting nice and soft. You can kind of see them getting a little bit brown now. I'm going to add half of the red wine. Again, if you don't want to use red wine, you can just use a vegetable broth. That's okay. But if you can, try to do half wine, half vegetable broth, because the red really is going to give it a rich flavor. And the alcohol cooks off as you're going off, so you don't have to worry about any of the alcohol being in there. So it should be okay for kids if you will allow it. Now, as you can see, if you look here at the bottom of the pan, you see all that flavor came back up. The wine, the acidity from the wine is basically, it does what we call deglazing the pan. So it starts to pull up all those flavors, the garlic, the onions, some of the mushrooms, things like that that were at the bottom. And now that all gets to be mixed in with our mushrooms. One of the reasons I use the mushrooms for the pate is because the mushrooms have this like umami flavor that's almost like a meaty flavor. And it's the best flavor I could come up with that would give us like a meat type of flavor to it.
That makes sense. I feel like also some of the other stuff that might work, like texture wise, might not work flavor wise, or vice versa. Like I think mushrooms just blend down nice and smooth, where like thinking about jackfruit, it's more fibrous. So it probably wouldn't blend as smooth, although it's very neutral in flavor.
Right. It is very neutral in flavor, but that's I wouldn't just go to the jackfruit. I would do at least half the mushroom to give it that taste. And you could always cook your jackfruit in broth until it's really, really soft. Drain it off and shred it up as much as you can. And then, you know, you could almost get away with using my ground beef mixture almost.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And take that and blend it and see if that would work for a pate. That might be more versatile and less mushroomy.
Yeah. Mushrooms sound great to me. I love mushrooms. You can't have too many.
All opinions, but nonetheless, it is very
Exactly. My 4-year-old definitely feels different about mushrooms than I do.
Oh yes.
Will Samantha eat this then?
She tried it and said it was good, but it's not anything she just went asking for.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
it makes sense though. I mean,
she does. She likes the marsala mushrooms that I put out there. She really likes that. And she likes fried mushrooms. So she will eat mushrooms in some degree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this up to medium high because I want that wine to kind of start reducing and pull, you know, get into those mushrooms. All right, I'm gonna let that simmer for a minute. Look at those bubbles, it's beautiful.
Oh, I can like kind of imagine the smell. It probably smells amazing.
It's actually quite nice. that red wine, it just really adds that flavor.
Yeah. I always try to use red wine over vegetable broth when I'm cooking, because I know a couple of Brenda's recipes are like that too. And the red wine, it's not ever like a ton, but it makes such a huge difference in like the fullness of the flavor.
Right. And if you have white wine, you can do white wine. White wine's okay. But I know we've had some questions on there about putting together like a low protein, quote unquote, charcuterie board.
Oh yeah.
I use that term because charcuterie technically means meat, but if you have low protein hot dogs or the lunch meat that's now available, you can always put that on your board and then there you go, there's your meat. But this is something that could definitely go on there. You can still lay your nice pretty crackers on there, fruits, dried fruits and things like that, and still make a nice little plate. I do that for Samantha all the time. You know, you've seen on some of the posts that Costco has had these cheese flights from Violife.
Yeah.
With 4 different types of cheeses. So you got those options to put on the cheese boards. And
there's so many options right now. And especially with the holidays, I think that's like such a perfect thing, especially if you don't want to bring a ton of something like it's a nice, easy thing to pass. And
there's a lot of times Samantha will ask for her own board. And she likes to have cream cheese with a jelly on top, usually fig jelly. Dip crackers in that. She likes having craisins on the side, slices of apples, you know, things that she knows she would like, but you can just sample a little bit of everything. It's a lot of fun for her. So I do that for her sometimes.
I mean, if you think about it, all it really is it's like a grown-up version of a Lunchable. So
exactly right.
And then most adults still are totally content with that because you don't always need a big heavy meal. Sometimes it's like you just want something light and snacky. So
Well, something like that. It's just fun.
yeah.
You know, it's just fun. It's quick. Hey, look, I have this I need to get rid of. Throw it on the board. Done. Look, okay, we can see now the wine is thickened. It's reduced. The mushrooms are nicely coated. So we're going to go ahead and shut that off. That's beautiful. Look at those. Nice and rich color.
So
Nice
you
and
still
coated.
want a little bit of moisture in your pan then, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Still leave a little bit because you don't want to reduce it too much and then have the mushrooms burn. It doesn't do you any favors, believe me. All right. So now we're going to add our tablespoon of butter. Just so everybody knows, yes, at this point, I normally would have added rosemary. I really like rosemary with this. However, it's under 2 inches of snow outside, so normally I would just go out and flip some. So at this point, you would add the rosemary. But look, there we go. So now you got a nice buttery look to it. You can even, honestly, at this point, you can even eat the mushrooms like this. I mean, these would be good on pastas, potatoes. You know, if your family's having steak, this would go on steak. So these would be good enough just as they are. But we're going to puree them into the sauce. So here's my handy dandy little blender here. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Give me just a moment. Okay. Oh. Now I'm going to add these in here, and then you can pulse this until you have the desired texture you want. Get all those drippings there. You want all that flavor. Don't want to waste that. Of course, you can always get a piece of bread and just dip it in there. That'd be okay too. Okay. All right, I'm gonna check on my cauliflower cups real quick. I'll let this sit for just a few minutes. It's gonna be really, really hot, so I'm just gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes while I check on our cups. Oh, they are smelling so good. All right. I still got 5 minutes left on the cauliflower cups. They are nice and firm. I want them to brown a little bit, so I'm gonna leave them in there a few more minutes. Now, to go along with this, to help make it creamy and add a little flavor, I got some softened cream cheese. This is Dia's brand. We're going to use that after we pulse our mushrooms for a little bit. I'm also going to add just a teeny tiny bit of this beef bouillon, just to help give a beefy flavor. You do not have to use it if you do not wish, but I like to add that flavor to it. So just only about a quarter teaspoon, so you don't need a whole lot.
Is that Better Than brand? Because I know that
Yes.
I know they have one that's like an actual vegetarian beef flavor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have a vegetarian one. They have a vegetarian chicken one. And Costco, a lot of times will have the big ones like this. They've even had ones that are even a little bit bigger. So I always buy those because I use these in everything. Yeah. If I'm making pasta, I will cook my pasta in chicken broth or vegetable broth. Almost always. I hardly ever use just plain water. Just my preference. Okay, so there we go. We got our mushrooms. They've cooled down just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and blend this. We don't want it too hot. We don't want the cream cheese to melt when we put it in, but we do want it to kind of come together a little bit. Oh, in case anybody's looking for a Christmas gift suggestion, I love this.
What brand is
It's
that one?
a KitchenAid and it's rechargeable. So I
Oh.
can literally take it all over the kitchen and use it until it needs to be charged again.
That is very handy. I feel like
So. All right, let's take a look. Okay, that's still a little bit chunky, so I'm going to pulse it again. There we go. Starting to come together a little bit more. I want it a little bit smoother, but if you prefer yours to be a little bit chunky because you like that texture, that's okay. Leave it chunky. I'm going to go just a little bit further with it. Okay. I get just a couple more pulses on it. Yeah, I think that's a good texture right there. Now, again, as this sits and cools down, it will thicken. So it'll definitely be spreadable. Normally, pate is something that's served cold. So it will taste a little bit different as it sits. The flavors will come together. It'll be very good. I'm going to move that into another bowl.
So it's so you said it's typically served cold, and then is it typically served with crackers? Like for those of us who have never had it in its original form, I was wondering that myself. I'm like, how is this typically served? Is it just
it's typically served with crackers or crostinis, toasted crackers, like the little toasted pieces of bread.
Yeah.
If anybody still has, I know Flavis is no longer around, but if anybody still has those ciabatta bread rolls, you can bake those, slice them, and toast those and use those as your crostini.
Okay.
And then, and then you can spread this on there like that. You can add garnishes of parsley or anything else that you would like with it to go on top with it. I feel like that. All right, put that out here. Find some room to mix. Give it a chance to cool down before I put the cream cheese in it.
And is the cream cheese soft? Oh, like I know so, like when you buy it and it's in the refrigerated section, like the Daiya cream cheese, it's still kind of firm. Is this?
Yeah.
Is it sitting out? Is it pretty like you want it in a softened state? I guess is what I'm trying.
Yes, you do want to soften so it's easy to blend. See that I left it sit out for like half an hour.
Okay.
So it's fairly soft enough that I can blend it, but it's not melted and making it too much liquid. So, all right, my oven's going off. I'm going to check on the muffin cups. Give that a chance to cool down for a minute. Oh, yeah, they're looking good. I'm going to show you here what they look like out of the oven. They got a nice little brownness on them, nice and toasty. I would let these cool in the pan for 5 to 10 minutes so they kind of hold together better as you get once they cool. We're going to set those aside for a few minutes and then I'll pull some out so you can see what they look like when they're fully done. We've still got 5 or 6 minutes left on the apple crisp. All right, I put that in. I chose to do this gently, but you could absolutely put the cream cheese in and blend it that way. I just didn't want it to blend the mushrooms anymore than I already did, so I'm just doing it this way.
Yeah, I was trying to think back to the picture, and I think it looked slightly smoother online. So obviously there's different levels of texture there that can happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I still have one in there. So I'm going to double check and see if I still have that one left in there so you can see what it looks like once it's cooled. But you can see it's kind of like a paste. It's going to, again, as it sits, it's going to thicken. I'll see about putting this one in the fridge, find the other one, and let you guys take a look at that. And again, you season it with salt and pepper as needed.
Would you recommend doing the salt and pepper after it cools or before, just because the flavor profile might change as it sits?
There we go.
Or does it not really matter?
It really doesn't matter. I would probably do it before, personally. And there, you see, as it sits, it kind of gets to be almost like a paste. Pate is typically liver that's blended down with flavoring, kind of similar to the way I did the mushrooms, into a paste like this, and it's spread on crackers and things of that, or pieces of bread. And it should be just nice and spreadable. I do have crackers somewhere. Yeah. Oh yes, I have found these.
Oh, those are my favorite.
These flatbed grain free crackers. They appear to be very low. So
Yeah, I think
Samantha wasn't a fan, but these are perfect for this type of spread.
when I was pregnant with Dana, I ate a lot of those with
Oh yeah,
low protein cream cheese and olives. Like that was a staple.
this would be very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could definitely top these with sliced green olives, you know, things like that, and that would be excellent for it. See, it has that nice texture, spreadable, and it's still. This is actually the original one I made. It's still doing well. So that's nothing.
That's good to know, because it, and not to say it's a ton of effort, but it's nice when things last, more than a couple of days in the fridge.
Yep.
So
yeah, I have not tried to freeze this yet to see what it would look like once it thawed. But I'll probably will try it and just see in case anybody wants to know if it can be frozen. Make it now, take it out for Christmas, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's been good. It has nice flavor. The flavor profile is great. I was easy on the salt. Me personally, I would love to put fresh cracked black pepper on it. But I like black pepper. But the flavor is still good. No. All right. I'm going to see if I can get a couple of the stuffing cups out of the pan. There we go. Okay. So are the stuffing cups. These probably could have sat in the pan a few more minutes, but I wanted to try to get an idea of what they look like once they were done. If they still seem like they're a little bit moist, you can put them back in the oven for another 4 or 5 minutes.
It's amazing how nice they hold together, because you just think about rice cauliflower and the crumbly mess it makes all over your counter if you make it from scratch. And it's
They are delicate.
Yeah.
So they are delicate. So I just use like a small butter knife to kind of get underneath and pull them up enough that I could scoop them out with my fingers. But once they cool, they will be easy to pick up and eat. So I may check our apple crisp. Oh, it looks delightful. Okay. Check our apples, see if they're cooked. Oh yeah, they're good. And our dessert is ready.
Oh, that looks wonderful.
I love those smells together. So good.
I think this is the first recipe I've seen that calls for like pumpkin and apple together, and it needs to be done more.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it makes a really nice flavor profile for this dessert.
Yeah.
So even those who may not be big pumpkin fans, the apple just complements it so well that it's not overpowered by the pumpkin. So it should be a big hit for everyone. Nice, hot and toasty. Definitely do not eat this right away. Let it sit for at least 10 minutes and then it should be good to go. All right, everything came out beautifully.
Yes. Well, Amber, thank you so much. We have the pate, we have the cauliflower cups, and we have that delicious looking pumpkin apple or apple pumpkin crisp. All right in time for the Thanksgiving holiday. So I hope that our viewers have enjoyed watching. And then if you guys have any questions, this was recorded, so we'll be processing it and putting it onto our YouTube channel, and then we'll send it out. But it's also on our Facebook page as well. So if anyone has questions for Amber, they can reach out. Most of us know how to get a hold of Amber, but if you don't, you can.
I'm available anytime.
Yes. So, but thank you so much, Amber, for your hard work and these wonderful recipes that will help take us through the holidays.
It is my pleasure. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and please share whatever you made, even if it's not one of my recipes, please share. We all like to see new ideas. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.